What's going on this morning, YouTube? What's up? What's up? What's up? This is another installment of your daily morning show. It's called the Morning Yard Stream. Like I said, I want to transition it into a 7-day-a-week morning show. So y'all give me a chance. Peace, peace, peace. Good morning. It's cold out here. It's not as cold as it was the other day, and it's not raining, so I guess that's a plus. It was supposed to be snowing out this mother, but it didn't. So lucky me. I still get to come to work. So this morning, guys, what's up? Also, shout out to Filthy Frank, aka Onk's Reborn Crack Pipe or Relit Crack Pipe. I forgot the name, but just absolute wonderful video. When I was listening to it, I didn't even know it was me until I was listening. Like, hey, wait a minute. That fucking sounds like me. With the Mickey Mouse voice thing, audio shit. But anyway, yes, good morning, people. Come on in, come on in. This morning's stream is about vegan healthy consciousness scammers. And I don't want everybody to assume that I'm talking about that famous vegan scammer, that a world famous conscious vegan scammer by the name of Brother Vegan Conscious Scammer Light. So I don't want anyone to just assume I'm talking about him. I'm talking about the whole lot of them. Meaning, for years now, we've been hearing in this consciousness realm about chakras. We've been hearing about vibration. We've been hearing how some people can't retain and or even process certain information because of the foods that they eat. We've been hearing you are what you eat. So if you eat this, then there's no way you're going to be able to process information properly, blah, 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 blah. Like when I was coming up, one of the biggest things that was talked about was pork. So in my earlier conscious days, like most people, not all, but most brothers who come into consciousness, we generally come in it through the 5% way, through the Elijah Muhammad 5% Nation, some built with Clarence X, and go through that, brother. But we all got our own paths, but that's generally a path for a lot of brothers who are now into what we call and deem consciousness. So the point is, it's from there, those beginnings, those are where we begin to hear shit like I just said, that you are what you eat, and if you eat swine, then you will become swine, and you know what I'm saying, all these things. If you eat this, you'll become that. If you eat the wrong foods, you will become the wrong person, and you won't be able to elevate. Now, fast forward that to now, where you got all types of conscious health nuts. Everybody will try to sell you on their version of consciousness. Everybody will try to sell you on their version of eating right and being healthy and what it ultimately means. But the problem that I'm having with that is this. I see a lot of people in the world who smoke cigarettes, drink beer, do all manner of regular, normal, basically what you would call normal American behavior. And these people, I can't see, full and empty. So these people do all manners of charitable works. Yeah, it's empty. Do all manner of charitable works in their community. These people are, I'm going to give you a prime example. When I was coming up, my football coaches, one of them was my dad, you know what I'm saying? But my football coaches, my coaches used to coach us. My coaches did that shit for free. My coaches used to come and pick kids up who didn't have rides, my father included, picking up people. My father used to go pick up kids and shit, give them rides home, rides to practice, rides to the game, helping people buy cleats, etc. Basketball season, it was the same thing. And after every game, we'd be relaxing, eating our little apples and orange slices with Capri Suns and whatever the fuck else we were doing. And my father, the other coaches, parents, some of the parents, they'd all be over at the coolers behind their cars or in the trunk of their cars drinking. Some of them, like one of my coaches, smoked cigarettes. He smoked them every day. But it didn't stop him one bit from giving back to his community. It didn't stop him from one bit for basically being a positive influence on young dudes who didn't even have fathers and shit at the time. You see what I'm saying? So, and he wasn't a vegan. They weren't vegans. They weren't going around talking about healthiness and consciousness and you can't be in consciousness and smoke a cigarette or a Black and Mild, or if you do this and if you eat this type of food, then you can't be conscious and you can't deem yourself conscious. Like on Sanetta's platform, we've been introduced to all manner of people spitting that shit. We've been introduced to all manners of all different types of people talking that shit, male and female. So let's just cut it right there. It ain't just dudes who's talking that, it's females as well. But the problem that I have is nobody has any evidence and nobody can ever answer my question of what of the statements that I just made. How come all the scammers and or alleged scammers, excuse me people, in our so-called community are vegan/health nuts? All of these people will tell you about the importance of your chakra. All these people will tell you about the importance of whatever the fuck. They'll tell you the importance of make sure you get proper sleep. Because see, the body needs this many hours of sleep. And if you have less than that, what you're doing to your chakra is such and such. Man, get the fuck out of here. Because at the end of the day, all the motherfuckers that I see scamming in the community is vegan/conscious health nuts. From Polite to his wife. To his wives, to Inky, Reggie, Shaka, all these people running around telling you that if you do certain things, if you have a certain lifestyle, especially when it comes to your food, we could even take that all the way to the Nation of Islam. How many scandals have the Nation of Islam had? And you talking to somebody, first off and foremost, let it be known who respects the Nation of Islam and always will. But because I respect you don't mean I'm not going to ask that question that I just asked. How many fucking scandals has the Nation of Islam been involved in over the years? Because for a certain group of people who telling me that if I change my diet, I'll change my thoughts, or if I change my diet, I'll change my ways, and all of this shit. How come you guys are still involved in fuckery? How come I could pinpoint and put my finger on times you've been involved in fuckery? Peace, 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 peace. For all those who just came in this morning, we're talking about healthy vegan scammers. We're talking about health nuts in the community. We're talking about all these people who told us all over decades that if we eat certain foods, if we smoke cigarettes, if we do all these things that you're not supposed to be doing, there's no way you can even talk about consciousness. But all the people who aren't doing these things, allegedly, all the people who are vegans and eating right, allegedly, by their own terms, eating right, because I don't even know what that means. But all the people who are allegedly eating right and living right have all been attached and tied to some sort of fuckery and some sort of scamming. Like I said before, I was giving an example of my father, my football coaches, etc. coming up. These brothers were regular men in the hood who had jobs in our communities. They had their own families. They had their own jobs. They had their own lives. But they still found the time, year after year, month after month, to find and squeeze money out of their own pockets to give back to their community for free. I remember times when, like I said, some of the kids I played ball with couldn't even afford cleats and shit to play in. And my father and other coaches were going in their pockets after paying their own bills, after paying and taking care of their own kids, going in their pockets and helping these people out. And my father and my other coaches, they weren't vegans, but they were doing real time, real actual giving back to their community through time and effort. When young niggas used to get in trouble, it was my father and other coaches who were there screaming at them, who were there going to visit them, who were there, basically just there for them. And none of these men, again, were vegans. None of these men were health nuts. None of these men were walking around saying you are what you eat. And if you eat this Fig Newton, then you will be having a Fig Newton brain or whatever the fuck. That's what was going on. I fast forwarded again to right now, where you have everybody and their mother who got some vegan plan. You got everybody and their mother who will come out and tell you how evil, let's say, I am because I smoke cigarettes sometimes. Nigga, there's nothing that you know that I don't know. There's nothing that you comprehend that I can't comprehend. And there's absolutely nothing in this world that you can attain that I can't attain, especially mentally, spiritually, etc. The only reason I don't come out sounding like some smart guy and preaching to y'all from some position of study is because I know for a fact that ain't my information. That's just shit I read and learned over the years. So if it's just shit I read and learned over the years, I'm not a CCTV. It's not. I'm not about to sit here and pretend that it's my information. That's one of the things right now that what's the kid named Young Pharaoh is going through, where people is questioning him on what he says. Because they're looking at him like, yo, this is not your information, nigga. You just regurgitating some shit. Which most information, period, is nothing but regurgitated. That's why I keep saying, unless you have a laboratory, don't be coming to tell me you a doctor. Okay? If you've never went to the store, to a science store, wholesale store, and bought beakers and lab coats and things of that nature to experiment with, I don't really want to hear you calling yourself a doctor. The same thing with brothers and sisters who claim to be talking about Egypt and what's going on over there. Nigga, unless you lived over there, and I mean lived for a few years to learn the culture and the society, to not only learn the culture and society, but also have excavation teams, evidence of you leading excavation teams. Don't be starting to preach and tell me shit about Egypt and what was there and what wasn't there, because you don't know what the fuck you talking about. And everything you getting and everything you telling me is some shit you read. It's the same thing with these vegan health nut scammers. All you doing is regurgitating some shit you read in a book where somebody said, if you do X, Y, and Z, you will be healthy. Or if you do X, Y, and Z, this will open up this. And then once this is open, then you can understand the cosmos and all this shit. But nobody has evidence of this shit. Again, nobody has actual real-time evidence of them being a vegan and all of a sudden them having visions of them being a vegan and then having visions and being able to see through the future and all of this shit, man. Like, nobody wants to hear that shit no more. I know more regular motherfuckers, like I said, who smoke cigarettes and fucking drink beer, who do way more for their community. And when I say way more, I mean actually doing the more. Not saying it, not making YouTube videos about the shit, none of that shit. I mean actually physically are up out here in the rain, in the cold, in the extreme heat. And they're out here dedicating their time and energy to people. And they're not even charging them for it. They're giving back to their community by way of occupying these kids' time. So these kids won't be out doing fuck shit. They're occupying these kids' time. So these kids won't be out committing crimes and shit. This is what's going on. But then I go to YouTube and turn on my computer and I hear all these smart guys and girls, all these healthy health nuts who I've heard on Sonetta's channel one time. I heard these niggas talking about somebody, mentors. I heard one time about people on Sonetta's channel when they were talking about this very topic about smoking cigarettes and eating certain foods and shit. So I was like, yo, what the fuck does that matter? Because you saying if I eat certain foods, I'm supposed to be a dummy who can't comprehend shit. And if I do eat the right foods, I am not a dummy who can properly decipher truth from falsehood, etc., etc. But again, every time somebody's been caught in scamming, I've never seen nobody who's been caught scamming that's a cigarette smoking, weed smoking, except, well, somebody who smokes weed who's a scammer and full of shit, who holds raffles that weren't. But all these people are vegan health nuts. So maybe veganism is the problem. I don't think cigarettes are the problem, because they won't even, Sonetta's channel, they won't even listen to you if you say you smoke cigarettes. How you gonna smoke? This man smokes cigarettes and da-da-da-da-da. Then Sonetta got caught out there one time while he was running his mouth trying to sound all extra healthy and shit. Then you run your mouth and niggas say how you go to the Chinese restaurant all the time getting fucking beef fried rice and all this shit from the Chinese restaurant. Now, I do the same thing because I fucking love the way that those Chinese restaurants cook rice. It's fucking delicious. Especially with the motherfucking vegetables that they put in it and all of that shit. Like, that shit is delicious. Who could argue with that? Who could be mad at that? But my point is, when you start throwing shots at people, trying to say, oh, because you do this, there's no way you can be conscious. There's no way you could be listened to as a person who knows what they're talking about and who could help lead the people into righteousness. But at the same time, every time I look up a scam story, every time I look up a story where somebody was promised something and didn't get it, every time I look up a story where niggas is reverting to straight niggerdom, it's on your page. It's on your fucking page. It's on these people's pages. It's on these vegan health nut pages. So Derrick Jones Talks Live, I have a personal issue with that. Not because I have a personal issue with it, because I ashamed of what I do or trying to cover some shit I do. I don't give a flying fuck what you know about what I do, because what I do is what I do, and it's nobody's fucking business. It still doesn't mean I don't know what I know. Cigarettes and drinking Coronas and and eating ground beef hasn't stopped me from being able to call a fraud out when I see one. That hasn't been affected in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Being able to decipher that I live in a society that operates off of systemic racism, nigga, and that I need to come together with my people as much as possible, because that is the only way to salvation. Yo, I did that while I still am myself. I ain't no vegan. How do I know that shit? The nigga said McGill's and saw Slither. Yeah, son, that is a fucking weirdo. I'm gonna tell you why you weird, Sonetta, since I know that you will be listening. You weird, man, because again, you could have did something different. You could have took that platform and made that shit something real. And then when you say you do it for the people, I would be behind you, because you would really be doing it for the people. And at this point in time, man, niggas need somebody to really do something for the people. Niggas don't need me per se to do nothing for the people like that, because nigga, on Derrick Jones Talks, I have like 200 subscribers. So my fan base on this page is not that big. On Shane TV, I have 1,000 subscribers. So my fan base is not that big. You know what I'm saying? So somebody who has the fan base, who has the potential to actually do something, chooses to do the complete opposite, which is nothing. And then not only do they do nothing, they're always involved and attached to some sort of fuckery, some sort of disputes, some sort of beefs, YouTube beefs, and all of that shit like that. And then got a fucking nerve and the audacity to get mad at a nigga because somebody comments on it and won't allow the shit to roll. Like this video I'm doing right now. Everybody runs around running their mouth about veganism, being healthy, you are what you eat. But every time I turn around, every time someone's getting scammed in the community, it's by one of these motherfuckers. That's the crazy part, yo. Every time somebody's getting scammed in the community, it's by one of these motherfuckers. It's not by the cigarette smoker. It's not by the person who still eats bacon in the morning for breakfast. It's not by these people. The scams are not coming by these people. It's the people who preach opposite of that. It's the people who preach that the people who do these things are not to be listened to, and they should be listened to because they're taking the necessary steps to make sure that that their chakra and their et cetera, whatever the fuck they talking about is proper, so that they could decipher information and lead the people. Because there's no way, again, that somebody who smokes a cigarette can lead you. These are things that these motherfuckers say, again, and they have no proof, facts, evidence, witnesses, personal first-hand knowledge, or anything to verify their statements or to quantify this shit in reality. It's the same thing when we talked about the other day when I was discussing this with root words. When I kept trying to explain to this nigga that you don't know shit about Masons, you don't know shit about Masonry, except what you learned on TV, on YouTube. Because if it wasn't for YouTube, none of these niggas would be running around here calling Masons evil. One of the main reasons they wouldn't be doing that shit, because they would have no fucking idea, because they wouldn't even know about it. It's this whole YouTube era, and it started before YouTube era. It really started in the 90s. It really started in the 90s when everybody was basically on this kick of we're going to talk about Illuminati and Illuminati this and Illuminati that. And I keep telling niggas the very first term, the thing to decipher in that is what the fuck actually does Illuminati mean? And Illuminati comes from the word illuminate. It just means to be enlightened. So if someone says you are part of the Illuminati, yes, I am definitely a part of the enlightened. And I don't give a fuck how you feel about that. Yes, I am definitely a part of the enlightened. Now, am I a part of some enlightened group who chooses to use that shit negatively and fuck people over? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But at the same time, what you're not going to do is take words that have actual meanings and create your own fucking narrative and your own fucking meaning. And you're also not going to take real life, real time situations and turn that shit into, hold on guys, these trucks are moving. I don't know how loud it is. You're also not going to take your fucking opinions about veganism, your opinions about so-called being a health nut and all of this, and push it on people like it's some foregone conclusion that all people who are vegans and all people who don't eat certain foods and don't drink certain drinks and this, that, and the third are righteous motherfuckers who are, hold on y'all, are righteous motherfuckers who are worthy of you following them. I'm not buying that shit at all. I'm not buying that shit at all. Like I said, because every time I look for a scammer in the black community lately, I ain't saying forever, I ain't saying always, but I'm saying lately in our community, if you want to look for a scammer, they probably coming at you with some sort of vegan shit. They probably coming at you calling themselves a doctor with no record of healing anything or treating anything. This is what we dealing with. But let me make a video like I'm doing right now and question these people, and let me pull out a cigarette and smoke a cigarette while I'm questioning these people. Watch what they say. You know what? That's what I'm going to do tomorrow on a morning stream. I'm going to get a cigarette, I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to smoke that shit right on my camera, and I'm going to fucking talk consciousness. Watch how these motherfuckers talk shit. This motherfucker right here, he want to talk about consciousness. He's smoking a cigarette. But the same motherfuckers want to talk about consciousness and give all their money to the white man for Benzes and shit like that. Yes. Same motherfuckers. That's why I say I don't listen to shit they say no more, because I see that you full of shit. And it only takes one time with me. It only takes one time with me for you to be completely full of shit for me to stop fucking with you. People can make mistakes. People could have opinions about something and grow. Hold on, y'all. People can have opinions about things and grow. Meaning, one year I used to think this, and the next 2 years, when I gathered more information and knowledge, I don't think that way anymore. So that happens all the fucking time. That ain't no problem. The problem I'm having is nobody seems to be growing when it comes to identifying these scammers. And these scammers are coming at you in the form of, I'm so special because I don't eat meat. Or I'm so special because I don't inhale smoke. See, when you inhale smoke, it goes to your lungs, and then it does this, and then your brain, bro, shut the fuck up, man. So sick of it. Just so sick of it. Just so sick of it. Derrick Jones Talks Live, morning stream here. Anything else y'all want to talk about before I cut this off? Let me know. Again, shout out to Filthy Frank, Sinetta Filthy Frank, the YouTube page, Sinetta Filthy Frank, that is. I don't want y'all to think I'm shouting out the real Filthy Frank. Sinetta, I am going to shout you out. I'm going to shout you out to come and repent. Repent in the name of the people. Tell the people you sorry. Tell the people that, yo, I was doing what I thought was right. And we'll accept that, even though we know it's horse shit. Derek Jones Talks Live. This has been your morning yard stream. Just because you're a vegan doesn't mean shit. It just means you don't eat meat. Peace.